Hey everybody, welcome to class. This is getting started with InTouch, and today we have a number of different things to go through with you in order to get you introduced to this incredibly important tool to help you all manage your business. So when it comes to getting into InTouch itself, you'll find that it is one of the tiles that's located here on desk. So when you log in to mycbdesk.com, just look for the one that has the funnel to income. That's a pretty accurate picture of some of the potential that InTouch has for you. As far as InTouch and its identity, just a quick overview of what it is. InTouch is something that is provided by a vendor called Market Leader. However, we have our own version of a system that they sell to the public. So it's not exactly what you would get if you would go to Market Leader outside of Coldwell Banker. So in addition to it being slightly different, there's definitely some upgrades involved. This is also something that is company paid and supported. Okay, so the company pays the vendor in order to provide this special version to you guys. And then as far as your support goes, you have the ability to get your training through Coldwell Banker. That's part of what I do. And then you also have the ability to ask questions and get support on InTouch from Coldwell Banker as well. So questions that you have in regards to the InTouch system would go through our usual help desk, whether it is your chat right here or a phone call that you can make in order to submit a ticket. When it comes to the training that we give you on InTouch, I do teach a class every week, and the class begins with this one, and it is a 4-class series. So today we're doing Getting Started, which of course is the foundation. So we'll identify a lot of these key features that are in InTouch and give you some great ideas on getting started with it. Next week, we will go into an in-depth discussion and training on the CRM, and that's your customer relationship manager. So this is basically where your contact management database lives. So it's a very important part of your business because your business is people. The week after, we'll go in depth into your marketing center. So we'll go through all of your digital marketing materials as well as your print marketing materials. So we'll take a look at what you have access to. We'll go through some tips and tricks on how to get these things created and then maybe shared and give you some ideas on how to use this marketing center, not only to market your listings, but also to market you as an agent. And then the 4th class in our series is on the website because you do have an InTouch agent personal website. And this is a website that's dedicated to you and you only. You are the only agent on here, and it is fantastic to market yourself and market your listings out there to the world. It's also great to have your buyers shop on your website. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. But that InTouch website class is on the 4th week. So you'll find that it's Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern each week. And then if you miss one in the series, you do register for each of the classes independently of each other. But if you miss one, it's completely okay. You'll find it again the next month, okay? Because I always do week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. Want to make sure that you all always have access to learning materials on this very important business builder and business manager. In addition to your resources and how you learn to use InTouch, highly recommend getting in and playing with it. You can't break it. Worst comes to worst, just delete what you did and really no harm, no foul. This is one of those systems that the more you use it, the more comfortable you get and the easier it is. So definitely be hands-on from the very, very beginning with this one. Get in the habit of using it and you will not regret that. You have the potential to really do a lot with this. You also have resources in Sales Pro. There's a number of different videos in Sales Pro that'll help get you guys started. And then our Desk Help Center also has a number of different materials. You also do still have access to the Market Leader Help Center as well. And the Help Center and Market Leader will give you guys some directions and some pointers in the right direction. So let's go ahead and click into InTouch. Let me go ahead and go into our dashboard. And this is the first place where you all will land as soon as you click on the InTouch tile. This is a really important screen because any company generated lead is going to land right here in front of you in that new contact section. So hopefully you all are already set up through our lead router system. So if you're a listing agent and you have a buyer lead coming in from somewhere out there in the internet, and it gets ported through our lead router system, your phone rings or you get a text message. You could even get an email depending on how your settings are done. And it'll say, hey, we've got a lead for you. Would you like to have it? And of course, you're going to say yes. And when you say yes, the lead is automatically moved into this section right here at the top. So that saves you all admin time. And it also reduces the need to pull over and make notes if you're driving, or use those crazy Post-its that really do come in handy for a lot of things, but for long-term use are very, very bad habits as far as staying organized and not losing important information. So all your info will go in here. Now, once you have a company lead that comes in and it lands here on your dashboard, you will want to make sure that you are proactive about managing that lead in InTouch. That helps avoid this red flag that is kind of called red hot overdue. And basically, it looks to the system that you're getting leads and you're not doing anything with them. Okay, so really the computer has no idea unless you tell it. So you could have just spent an entire day with the buyer that came in, but unless you make a note or change the status or do a few other key changes in that contacts file in here, the computer's not going to know. So just be sure that you are diligent about changing that status so the company knows that you're taking care of the leads that are being sent to you and everybody is happy. So when it comes into your new contact, the first thing you want to do with a new contact is identify where they are at in the real estate transaction, right? So just because you just got their information, you don't know when they are looking to buy or sell. You don't have any details on this. So they come in on a status as new. Okay, so new is really just a label that means you all need to have a conversation with them in order to figure out what they're thinking and what their plans are, what you can do as a professional in order to help meet their needs. Okay, once you have established what their time frame is, what their budget is if they're a buyer or if they're a seller, what they're looking to or considering selling their home for, basically your timing is going to dictate hot, warm, cold, and then the other details or other information that you flush out in the conversation should go somewhere in the contact's notes. Okay, and this is how you track what's in your pipeline, and this is how you know that you are building a pipeline that will result in you getting paid. If for those of you that have taken AMP, you might recall in the I believe it's in the first week. It's the first or second week. It's early in the day. There's a page in that AMP curriculum that talks about how many leads you should have that are in the 30-day window, the 60-day window, the 90-day window. Okay, so this is the 30 days to closing, 60 days to closing, 90 days to closing are the windows that I'm referencing. That helps you all determine how frequently you're going to have a paycheck, and it's a very important thing to monitor. Okay, so your HOTS, these would be the people that you're actively working with today that are most likely going to result in a contract at any point now. Okay, so this could be someone that you're getting ready to go on a listing appointment for. This could be a buyer that just finished getting their pre-approval in place and you're actively shopping. Okay, so you literally could be any minute. You guys are going to be under contract to where you can mark on your calendar, this is when I can expect to get a commission check by working with this particular client. Your warm is going to be the people that are on deck. Okay, so these are what's next. These are the people that are waiting in the wings. The warms are the people that have decided that they are going to be making a change. They're just not quite ready yet, right? So we are really 1 week into a brand new year and a brand new decade, right? So right now in this stage of prospecting, it's possible you could be getting multiple warm leads right now, okay? Not super hot ones. People are still putting away their Christmas decorations and Hanukkah decorations, taking down lights. Some people did that a week ago. Some people are going to do that in 2 weeks. Really just depends on who they are. But really what I'm getting at is that people are coming out of a very, very busy time in their social life, and they're starting to plan for real life again, now that the holidays are in the rearview mirror. So you may find that now that we're into January, the people that are outgrowing their home are looking at their kids and how big they are and saying, you know, we really do need a bigger house. I think we're going to look at putting the house on the market in March. We'll start shopping for our new home in March when the house is on the market. So that way we can target moving in June when the kids are out of school for summer. Okay, so that's just one example of a warm lead. Okay, they're planning. They know it's something they want and need to do. However, the time frame is far enough on the horizon that it's not time for you guys to do anything but hold their hand, give them information, and start getting them ready. Okay, but they're not necessarily somebody that you're going to be actively listing in the next week. They're not necessarily somebody who's getting pre-approved for their mortgage just yet, but you do know what's coming, right? So I know that's kind of a long description, but your warms are the people that you want to be really close to as well. Your colds, these aren't necessarily a bad thing. That just simply means that they're not ready to make a real estate transaction. They don't have any defined plans as of yet, which is perfectly okay. Also, keep in mind communicating with these colds. This is how you get referrals, though. So don't ever leave this group of contacts alone. These are the people that can get you connected with their friends, their family. They can send you a text message if their neighbor goes for sale by owner. Everybody in your database has the ability to help you to network, to build your business, and to provide that professional recommendation that really does help you grow your business by word of mouth. So don't neglect those. So say your lead comes in and you're not really able to place them in hot and warm or in cold, but you can't even reach them at all. Okay, so what do you do then? You don't want to keep them new, okay, because maybe the lead came in for a few days or it came in a few days ago and you have been trying to get a hold of them. You need some way to mark that. That's what retry is for. So that's a, hey, I'm trying, it's not quite working, but I'm going to continue trying until I get a hold of them, right? And I'm not saying to stalk the person. I'm not saying blow up their phone every single day for weeks on end. That's how you get blocked. Maybe for good intentions, but you know, sometimes people do like their privacy. They want some information and they want to think about things. Perfectly okay. They will let you know how they'd like to communicate, but that doesn't mean you need to leave them alone. Okay, that just means that do your communications within a reasonable amount of time. Okay, so if you're retries, you're reaching out to them, you know, maybe every day for a few days, and then maybe back off to twice a week, back off to once a week. After a month or two, if they're not responsive, totally okay. Be sure you have them on a campaign. Your marketing center really comes in handy for that. You have those drip email campaigns. Use those to stay in front of them, and then put them on a reminder campaign for you to remember to reach out to them periodically. Get them a listing alert. Okay, which is done also through InTouch, so they can receive any new listing that hits the market and encourages them to use your website. And you're staying in front of them enough so when the time is ready, you stand a chance at converting that non-responsive lead to an active customer. Okay, and that is when they are ready. And that's one of the best things that you can do in order to leverage InTouch, in order to continue to have people that are constantly in your pipeline. Maybe they're in different stages, but every single one of these people will have a value in a certain way if you know how to manage your lead system. And your filing right here is kind of where you start. Your pendings and your sold, I think, are self-explanatory. Okay, so once your hots go under contract, you can move them to pending. And then once the pendings are closed, you can move them to solds. Okay, so those are customers that can also be a very strong referral base for you. They can say, hey, I just worked with the best real estate agent ever in the history of real estate agents. Cousin John, you really need to hire this agent. They're just the best person ever. Okay, and that's how you guys build your business, by word of mouth. Trash, use carefully. Okay, so I don't recommend trashing contacts unless they have bad contact information. InTouch is programmed to screen contact info, at least for emails, in order to try and make sure you guys aren't getting garbage into your system. Every now and then one will sneak through. But for the most part, it's really good at that. You also have the ability to reassign leads and send them to somebody else. So if it's somebody that you know is a solid lead, but just for whatever reason you're not comfortable working with this person, find another agent to work with them and take a referral fee. There's a lot of different ways to work this business. It's perfectly okay to do that. And then maybe reserve the trash for the people that you really just wouldn't wish on anybody, because we do work with the public. It occasionally happens. Or maybe the people that have bad contact info. But if they're not responsive, don't trash them. Put them on a listing alert. Put them on some campaigns. Touch base with them every now and then to remind them that you're still in business and you're still happy to help. And more often than not, they will come back to you at whatever point they are ready. So I know that's kind of a long description of how to handle these new contacts, but this is really where it all begins. Your business lives in your database, so handling it well and managing it well really can keep food on your table and your lights on for pretty much the remainder of your career, as long as you're good about that. When it comes to moving down and some of these other items that you see here on your dashboard, your upcoming reminders, how you manage your schedule will show up right here. So you can schedule a reminder. See if I click add new, show you guys how this works. So it's a task, a phone call, or a meeting. All right, so say it is a phone call. All right, do I want to associate it with a contact? Okay. All right. I'm associating it with a contact. When do I need this to take place? Okay, the January 8th, so that's tomorrow at 4:15. I'll just say at 4 o'clock. We'll say call to mind about inspection. All right, so I can click save, and here we go. All right, so that's an example of how a real estate agent may use that reminder. Okay, so if this person is under contract, their inspection period is over, you need to make sure you have the contract deadline met by turning in the results to the listing agent and having the requests put in if you're requesting repairs, or waiving the inspection contingency if you are not requesting repairs, or even withdrawing if it's an as-is and it's within your paperwork, but that's a different conversation entirely. This will help you guys stay organized, is really what I'm getting at. So as I just mentioned, contract deadlines are an excellent use of this reminder section, making sure that you remind yourself to do important things like, hey, I know there's a for sale by owner around the corner. I need to, maybe gather some courage so I can go knock on their door tomorrow. I'll give myself a deadline for that and say, all right, I scheduled it. I told myself I'm going to talk to the FSBO tomorrow and I'm going to do it. All right, put it on your list. Okay, so it stays in front of you, it reminds you, and it will encourage you to be accountable to yourself. Lots of different ways to use these upcoming reminders. So your reminders not only will show up the day before, they actually show up for a little bit of time in advance before it's due. So you can kind of always see what's coming in your schedule, those important things that you need to pay attention to. Over here off to the right, these are your recently active contacts. So these are people that have recently been on the website. So the people that are on the website will show up here. Usually you'll have a piece of information on a latest update right here. We just released all of our awesome new website features last month. So that's what this is all about. You can get a snapshot of your website traffic. And then you can also see this performance evaluator is a pro feature, but that'll give you some website insights. And you can also take a look at your profile in order to see what percentage of completion you are at. All right, so contacts. This is your contact database. So you'll have a whole list of people in here. And as you scroll across, you can see what's going on with this person. All right, so I've got 2 reminders for this person. All right, I have an email, but I don't have a phone in here. Okay, I have them in a group, right? So they're placed into a group. Okay, that's a tag of what they have in common with other contacts, makes it easier to market. They are on a drip marketing campaign. This is a summary of the more recent listings that this person has clicked on the agent website, right? So it's an average of the more recent prices, okay? It's not a specific price, it's averaging out the last several listings that they have clicked on in the location that they've clicked on. The location tends to be the most recent location. The price tends to be an average of prices. So there's a little bit of a difference the way these two are listed. They are on a listing search, so they're automatically receiving new listings for a saved search that we have in their account. Okay. They haven't viewed or saved any properties too specifically. They were added to the system. I'm not entirely sure what LR means. That is something that I think relatively recently appeared, and I haven't had a chance to take a look. Sorry about that. But you can also see when they were last on. Okay, the status that they're in, and if there's any actions that I need to do, I can go in through here. All right, so I can put together a follow-up wizard for this person. Sending a CMA is a pro feature. I can send them listings. So if I want to do a search for listings and email them to them through InTouch, I can. Add notes, or this is notes, say maybe about a conversation that I've had with that person, which is good practice, by the way, or I can go ahead and send them an email message. If I want to add a new contact, I can go to contacts and hit create, or I can do all contacts, which is where we're at right now, and then do add contact. Both take to the same screen. There's only a handful of required fields, and you'll see which ones. I believe it's name and email are the only real required fields when you're adding them one at a time in here. If you need to search for a specific contact, you can. So for example, if I want to do my filters, let's see. I can search by area in which they're looking. All right, so let's say I want to find everybody who does not have a listing search set up for them in here. I would hit search. I'll have this, and this is my list of people that I'm going to want to go through and set up a listing search for them. Okay, and that listing search or listing alert, that would notify them of any new listings in the area that I designate, which is usually where they live. So basically I'd say, okay, I know Lucille lives in neighborhood A, and I would set her search up where she's able to see all of the real estate activity that's happening in neighborhood A. So that encourages my contact, Lucille, to use my website in order to stay in touch with what's going on in her real estate market instead of using Zillow. You know, everybody has Zillow, everybody goes to Zillow, but if they have access to the same information on your website and you're doing the work for them, then they're going to use your website. Okay, so that's a great thing for you as you're the only agent on there. So it's just kind of a thought. Just be sure you're setting those listing alerts up for all of your contacts. In addition to another recommendation that we have, I'm going to clear my filters. And let's say, are they on an active campaign? Okay. Say, no, they're not on an active campaign. All right, so these are people that I don't have on a drip campaign. right? So maybe I'll want to put them on a drip campaign so they're receiving emails from me just periodically, just so I can remind them that I'm here and I can help them. We have a seasonal campaign that's fantastic for stuff like that. So that'll go out on, say, President's Day, St. Patty's Day, all of the holidays moving out into the year. So those seasonal campaigns are pretty popular. You have a lot of different options. That's just an example of a great social campaign that you can put out there. So it's not always going to be just real estate. Let's see what else we have in here. I would also consider maybe pulling up anybody who's listed as new. Okay, because if they're listed as new, then again, like we talked about a few minutes ago, that's an indicator that it's time to have a conversation with that person. Say, hey, what's going on in real estate? Are you guys thinking about moving? If so, are you ready to be a first-time home buyer? Or are you outgrowing your house? You're ready to sell that particular home? Maybe it's time to downsize. Just remind them that you're an agent. You are with the #1 company in the United States for 20 plus years, and that you would absolutely love to help them with any of the changes they need to make. And then get into those retries in order to continue to try and touch base with them. So there's a number of different ways that you can filter these. We do recommend that you have everybody set up on at least 1 or 2 campaigns, and then also set them up on that listing search. So if you do maybe the InTouch monthly newsletter and a campaign, like a seasonal campaign, and then if you, I don't know if you guys have gotten into Prospect Square yet, but Prospect Square, you can have different types of reports sent out. So have them on 1 or 2 Prospect Square, 1 or 2 email campaigns in here, and then some listing alerts. You're really going to be in front of them about every, I would say maybe every week to 2 weeks, just one little email. So it sounds like a lot when we talk about it all at once, but as far as how the user or end user experiences it, it's not crazy. So that's just a great reminder. One of the cool things about email marketing or digital marketing is that even if they don't ever open the email, which I know sometimes is painful to see, but remember they're still seeing your name and that you're in real estate in their inbox. Okay, so even if they're not opening the emails, they are still getting that reminder that you're still there, you're still an active realtor, and you're still communicating with them. So you still get quite a bit of credit for sending the emails, even if you see that, half of them aren't being opened. So don't ever get discouraged when it comes to your digital marketing. That's a pretty normal thing to not have all of your emails opened and read and responded to. Sometimes as a newer agent, your expectation is that everybody's going to communicate back. That's just not real life. But as long as you set your sales for the proper expectations and you continue to do it and you continue to have the faith it will work, it absolutely does. You just got to stick with it. These campaigns will save you a ton of time and can help build your business in a substantial way. So when it comes to listings, let's take a look at what we have here. So I'm going to go into Market My Listings first. And your InTouch system is what we call IDX connected, right? So your IDX is Internet Data Exchange, because way back in the day when everything went online in the early 2000s, late 90s, whenever that was, we had to figure out a way to share information, but still regulate the information online. And that's really what IDX is. So your IDX connection is actually tied to you and your individual real estate license. That's why when you first get into your InTouch account, you only have company listings in here, and we have to get you set up in order to make sure your IDX feed comes through. But what your IDX feed carries when it comes in is every listing in the MLS. So you all can have every listing in your office, every listing in the MLS on your website that your customers and your clients have access to view. Okay, so it doesn't just have to be a property that's listed by you. You always have inventory that you can share with anybody that you meet right here because of that data exchange agreement. So that's a lovely thing to have. All right, so if you have listings, they'll show up here. We'll go into offices listings. And you have access to your office listings as it's labeled office listings. I guess that was probably a no-brainer. Anyway, So we have active. You can also see some pendings in here. And when you screen these different bars for each listing, you can see that there's options. All right, so this is an active one. Do I want to showcase this property? Okay, so if I have something on a showcase property, whenever my marketing center is sending out emails, it's grabbing a few properties, a few listings, and linking them with photo links, by the way, so it looks really nice in the footer of the email, saying, hey, here's a sample of local properties that are available. So you can just have them all picked, and it will be kind of like a sampling, a random assortment that goes out on the bottom of your marketing emails automatically, just attached by the system to help you all get inventory out there associated with you as an awesome agent. Or you can uncheck the box and you can go through your office listings and you can hand pick which listings you would like to show up on the bottom of all of your emails. So you do have quite a bit of control on how these are done. Just remember that as these listings go off market, they go under contract, you will need to make sure that if you're not just leaving it where they're all checked, you want to make sure that you manage that. Eventually you won't have any showcase properties if you forget to go in and continue to pay attention to that. But this is active marketing and a good practice for you guys. You can also go to create marketing collateral through a specific property, so that'll help get you all into our listing enabled materials, which basically autofill the description, the property details, and import the photos from the MLS. So it's a really quick experience to get marketing pieces done. Then you can also add them to your featured properties section on your website. So again, just like your showcase properties, which go out on your emails, the featured properties on your website, you all have a substantial amount of control. You can feature all of them, or you can feature just a few. If you are a heavy listing agent, you can just feature your own listings. If you're light on inventory and you need something to show, you can feature whatever listing you think is fun. Also, when it comes to these listings, you have the ability to go in and mark it to your database. So for example, property details page, if I click email, this is yet another example of why you want to make sure you're keeping good records of all of your contacts. You have the ability to use this section in order to figure out who in your database could possibly have an interest in that listing, right? So, and that'll do that by budget, which area, okay, what contact type. Okay, we'll just say all. And then if they've already received it in a listing alert, do you want to send it a second time? Okay, so that's what resend means. So for example, as your budget, I'm not your budget, what am I saying? Your database grows, which it will grow pretty quickly and substantially, even in the first few months. I can only imagine what it's like after a few years. It's crazy how much it grows. Sometimes those internet leads are quiet, like we were talking earlier. Sometimes things aren't super responsive and you just kind of forget about it for a little while. You could come in here, do one of these searches and say, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that person. All right, well, this matches the criteria they were last looking at. I'll just go ahead and send it to them. And you never know, it definitely could make all the difference. All right, it's happened before, it'll happen again. So this helps you all just kind of manage that database and do some matchmaking as you can. You can also share using these links as well. Right, so if I want to get this shared to Facebook, I would have to log into Facebook and get that posted. Just be sure you are sharing these things on your business page. If you want to take them from your business page and move them to your personal page, maybe share from your business to your personal, that's okay, but you absolutely should have a business page set up if you don't already, because the capability that you have as a marketing professional with your business page is not just head and shoulders, it is like light years ahead of what you can do on the personal side, having to do with targeted audiences and all kinds of stuff that I am not going to get into today because it's a totally different subject matter. All right, so that's kind of what your listings looks like. If we go into search all listings, go through, and this is like doing an MLS search, except for it's awesome because it's on your website, your name's all over it, and you can send it to anybody who's in your database. So this is a wonderful way to encourage use of your website, because when you're emailing properties from InTouch to your customers, when they get the email and they click on the property and say, ooh, that's really cool, I want to look at that, it brings that back to your website. So it encourages use of your website. Let's go to Marketing Center. These are where all of your marketing materials live. You have a monthly newsletter, and the content is automatically done for you. Once you say, I want these people to receive the monthly newsletter every month, and you turn it on, even if you never touch it again, they continue to receive your newsletter like clockwork every month. Okay, so it's literally set it and forget it kind of thing. Any campaign or marketing piece that you have worked on before live in here. So these are your versions that you have altered and made into your own. You can upload your own images for use in here. That goes in here. And then you also have the ability to upload mailing lists. So those would be, say, a list of people that maybe you're going to send some postcards and some mailers to for a period of time, but not forever. They're not necessarily people you know enough and are working with enough in order to add to your contacts, but maybe it's a neighborhood that you took a listing in that you're sending mailers to on a repetitive basis for 3 months in order to maximize your visibility with the yard sign, market to that neighborhood for 3 or 6 months, and then the people that you meet during that campaign will go into the contacts, and the people that you did not meet can stay on a mailing list that you may reuse in the future if you get another listing or when you get another listing from that type of effort. Your design library, these are where all of your materials live in order to get in and begin the process of customizing them to make them your own. So you have templates in here, and the campaign templates, these are those email drip campaigns. It'll take you 5 or 10 minutes to set a campaign up. It's really quick. It's really easy to do. We get into that in week 3 of this series. But remember, those campaigns will happen over a period of time. So if you can dedicate 5 or 10 minutes to getting a campaign up and running, that campaign may last you the remainder of the year if everybody on it is receiving those seasonal e-cards for the rest of the year, for example. Your email and video marketing, those are single push email marketing. So that could be an email flyer on whatever subject matter. We call this email and video marketing in order to really highlight the capability that these emails have, because you do have the ability to embed video into these emails, which I think is fabulous. So an example that some of our top agents are doing right now is that, say, listing concierge. Okay, so for those of you that are not familiar with listing concierge, some of what you get in each of the packages actually is you have the ability to create a video of your property. All right, so you do your listing concierge, your team is doing your marketing, but you also can grab that video, bump it into YouTube or put it on Vimeo, wherever you want it to be, and then you can embed the video in an email and send it out to your whole database through here too. So there's a lot of cool ways to use video as a marketing professional in the real estate industry. I also know agents that love to send their customers video messages, which is, hey, Happy New Year. Hope you guys are doing great. Don't forget about me. It's January. I am back to work after a crazy holiday season, and I am looking for listings. So if you see any for sale by owners in your neighborhood, send me a text message with that address. I would love to go help those people. Or if any of your coworkers or your friends mention anything, I promise I'll take great care of them. Hope you guys had a fabulous holiday season, and see you soon. Okay, so it doesn't have to be polished. It doesn't have to be professionally recorded. You and your personality, just be sure you have good lighting, not a lot of background noise, no crazy wind or anything like that. But put that on your agent personal YouTube channel, embed it into that video, and push that out to everybody you know. Okay, so that's some really easy, like 2020 level marketing that I would love to see more of our agents do. You also have the ability to do print marketing in here. Okay, and this is a DIY. The templates are already in here. You can print your own flyers, so you can do open houses, just listed, you just sold, informational flyers on a number of different subjects, lots of stuff in here. You also have the ability to do postcards, right? So if you want to DIY your postcards, you can do postcards here and print them and mail them yourself. So there's an option. If you don't want to DIY it, but you still want to do print, if you go into print, there's also a shopping cart feature. So you can have them professionally printed and mailed. And I believe it is also done through Express Docs. Okay, so if Express Docs is in your area, it should be Express Docs. It could be CoreFact. I'm pretty sure it's Express Docs though. So you'll still have the advantage of being able to like create some of your own materials, get them pushed out, but then somebody else will be able to do all of like the postage and the addressing and that stuff that really takes a lot of time. Remember the time value of money. Okay, so sometimes it's easier and better just to say, all right, this is what I want done. You guys do it for me. And then you can take your time and you can be the rainmaker and go out and get those customers. Okay, so just kind of think about what you're doing with your time, what you want your salary as a real estate agent to be, and plan your business around that. You guys have higher value on your time than, say, an admin person who could be doing postcards for you. But that's something you guys can talk about that when you go to AMP if you have not already gone to AMP. AMP is our sales training course, by the way. Any questions you have for your print will show up right down here. So pricing and then shopping cart questions. The website, I'll just go ahead and go into view site and I'll show you what the capabilities are. I think we're doing okay for time, but the website editing class is usually pretty fun because there's so many different things that we can do in order to customize these sites. You can see you have a number of different tabs. All of these are customizable. Okay. The slideshow, all of your photos right here are all customizable. You can put up to 4 in the slideshow. The welcome home is customizable. Not only do you get to decide what this says, you also get to decide where this is located at in relation to this message. You can also remove the message if you don't want it to, by the way. So find your perfect home is what this says. You could also say search here, and you can move your search bar wherever you want. Lots of options to customize that. And the rest of these are done in like a building block type of content, right? So this is a featured listing type of section that I titled Orlando Metro Featured Properties, also customizable, as you might have guessed. A text section, a bio section. This is a blog section. I believe blog is a pro only feature though, good to know. And then this is a community served section. The photos that show up in these photo blocks and community served either can be stock photos like what you see here. You also have the ability to place your own photos in here. So really best practices would be to have a photograph of Wekiva Club, of Aliqua Lakes, of downtown Orlando. So not only does it say what the name of the neighborhood is, somebody will see what a special picture, hopefully a very attractive and enticing picture will look like right here. And then they can click through in order to get to more information on it. Okay, testimonials, video, okay, and then the footers. So lots of cool different options. Like if I do neighborhoods, these are the communities served. This is your opportunity to demonstrate your proficiency in your market and your knowledge in your market. So you can, it's the map, a description, okay, some basic stats on what's going on in the neighborhood. And then if I want to look at new listings in this neighborhood, I can say, oh, I read about it. It sounds like a great place. Click on it, and here you go, right? So as you can see, there are some pretty great features of this. Even if you go into your sales section, I know we talk a lot about the website as maybe a buyer resource, but your sellers also have the ability to come in and not only peruse what's going on in their neighborhood independently and privately if they want, but actually you as the agent, if they're logged into their account, you can kind of see what they're doing. But that's a different conversation. We get into that next week in the contact management system, by the way. So come back next week. But the what is my home worth? This is a CMA. Okay, so you have the ability to direct this or direct sellers here in order to request a market analysis. And then you also can customize your pages. So this is something graphic I put on there that's referencing Listing Concierge. All right, so that's kind of like your website. This is the Help Center. Messages is a fully functional inbound and outbound email through InTouch. And yes, I know you guys already have a million emails, but now you have a million plus one. One of the great things about communicating with your active clients through the InTouch email is that the communications are automatically logged and placed into your client's file. So it reduces your admin time. You do have the ability to have them reply to an outside email. Okay, so it would be sent from InTouch, your InTouch email, but when they hit reply, you can have it sent to your Coldwell Banker email or your Gmail or whatever it is. We'll look at that in a moment. But then the reply, because it's outside of the InTouch system, the reply is not copied. So then if you are tracking your communications just for documentation and legal purposes, it would be on you in order to make sure that you're filing these things. But if you're going back and forth using your InTouch email, then, it's a little different. The InTouch or Market Leader actually has an app that's available, which tends to be a little bit easier to use if you are communicating. But even if you don't want to grab the app, then you can, you'll get a notice. If somebody sends you a message in your account, you'll get an email to your Coldwell Banker email saying, hey, Jen, you've got a new message. You should probably check on that. So then you can log in and you're not missing anything important. We already talked about reminders, but if you want to dive headfirst and take a look at all of those reminders, they'll be right here. And then let's go ahead and finish up today's class in a really important section. So now that you have a pretty good idea of all of the great things that InTouch can and will do for your business, if you make it a habit to use it, there's a few things you'll want to take a look at in order to make sure that you're set up properly from the very beginning. So let's go into my account. So here's your settings. If the information that's showing up on your website and your email footers is accurate or inaccurate, either way, it comes from this section. So you'll always want to make sure that your settings is filled out correctly because this is where all of that information is sourced from. You have your reply to email. So as I mentioned, any email that you send will come from your CRM email. Okay, but if they're replying to, do you want it to reply also to your CRM or do you want it to go to whatever you have listed as your external email? So that's kind of a personal choice for you to make. A call to action, this would be a spot for, say, a slogan. And then also, you all may have noted that my website and then my email are not, they neither reference CB InTouch. The account that you all are automatically provisioned with when you start as an agent, the standard account that you're provided is a subdomain. It's typically, yourname.cbintouch.com. Okay, and then it has a corresponding email address, which would be your name at cbintouch.com. Once you upgrade to Pro, or if you decide to upgrade to Pro, one of the many features that come with the upgraded package would be a direct standalone URL. So that could be a .com, a .net, whichever it is that you end up buying that's available and appropriate for your business and your market. Just be very careful. If you use the word realtor in your domain, it has to be used in association with your license name. Like I would have to have JenniferCraigRealtor.com in order to be in compliance with NAR. I couldn't put your bestfloridarealtor.com and be in compliance. So remember, Realtor is trademarked, and because it's trademarked and it's intellectual property, it is regulated with how we use it, even if we are members. So just make sure all of this information is correct. Your bio summary appears in a snapshot on your website. So this is just a real quick bio, but then you have a full bio, and this shows on your About page. So your About Me on your website. And then these are where your social media links go in. So if you want to add, you'll select which one, and then you'll copy and paste the URL from the correct page into here, and then you're good to go. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at a couple other things. Let's look at activity alerts. Be sure you check your activity alerts sooner rather than later. You all have the ability to get notified right away when certain events are going on in your InTouch system, and you get to decide whether you want it by text or email or both. When it comes to that, do not do as I do. I am 100% focused on training our agents, getting you guys up to speed when it comes to all of the tools and products that you have access to. I haven't been in sales in a number of years, but if I was still in sales and I was still an agent, I would absolutely have both of these checked all the way down. I know how it is when I'm having a busy day and say maybe like one of my girlfriends texts me in the morning and I'm in a meeting and I'm working for the rest of the day and I'm juggling kids and all kinds of other stuff, that text message gets buried. Okay, so if my text message gets buried, if I don't have that email reminder that I got that text message at 10 o'clock in the morning, you know, and it's a girlfriend from across the street, it might not be the end of the world if I forget to text her back until late that night or the next day. But if it's a customer, it could be a big deal. Okay, so if you get a text message, it's always great to have that safety net of an email. But if it goes to email only, then you guys are like totally tied to your email, and that's no fun. The text tends to be a little more convenient. So that's the method to my madness as to why I suggest having both. But be sure you have your email here, and then make sure it's this one that you actually like pay attention to. We all have ones that we watch and ones that we don't. That's just life in this day and age. Be sure your text is set up properly here, okay, and your notifications. You also have the ability to get update. So this will send you an email in the morning of your different reminders that you have, and then also an idea of what's going on your website and some updates. All right, so check your activity alerts. Let's look at our MLS setup. If you go to MLS Setup and it has your MLS listed and it says approved, then you all should be good to go. Okay, so just make sure you see your agent ID and your office ID and you'll be fine. Okay, if your office ID is missing, you're probably also missing those featured properties in the office listings that we were looking at a few minutes ago. Your agent ID will help to make sure your agent ID needs to be in order to connect your IDX, as I mentioned earlier, that is tied to your license as well as the company's license. But it also helps make sure that the information is correct on your listings that your name is on, and also your sales that you are getting credit for in the MLS. So that way your whole portfolio is going to show up correctly in your InTouch system, not only for marketing purposes, but also on your website. So getting that in is really important. So if you need to have it, add your MLS feed because it's not done yet, you just quickly click the button, select which MLS it is that you belong to, and then you'll click Save. Okay. And then from here, talk to your office administrator or your branch manager, maybe even your local field marketing manager or trainer about next steps. Okay, actually I need to cancel that. All right, there we go. So I canceled that request, of course. When it comes to your forms and your instructions, in most circumstances, you're not going to have to jump through all of those hoops, but it does tend to vary a little bit market by market as far as what those exact steps are once you've made that request. Sometimes it's just as easy as saying add MLS feed, picking the correct MLS that you're a member to, and sending an email to IDX at Market Leader saying, hey, I'm a Coldwell Banker agent. We have blanket approval. Please connect my IDX feed. Okay, sometimes it's just as quick as sending them a note and asking them to turn it on because you're Coldwell Banker and we have blanket approvals in place in most markets. But again, double check that where you're at. Your email settings right here. Okay, so when you want to change your footer, or not your footer, your email signature, you can. And that would be from the email to and from your messages system here in InTouch. You have an email quick text. So to save time, so say you get a lead, somebody requested information, this will help save you all from typing the same thing over and over. And then you also have templates, right? So this is a welcome email that would go out to a new contact that signs up themselves on your website. If you add somebody and you want to your contact and you want to give them access to your website, you'll check a box and say send a welcome email, and that is what this one is. And then you have the ability to enable this initial contact wizard. So that just reminds that contact that they have the ability to do a saved home search on their website. And then this would be the language that would go out with the CMA if you have Pro and you are sending that. By the way, the CMAs in here, they are what I call a baby CMA or a marketing CMA. They're not the level of detail that you need to list a property, but they're a good starting point for someone that's starting to try and figure out what their home is worth. So say you have a conversation with someone like, I'd kind of like an idea what things are. I'm not ready to sell my house yet, but I'm kind of curious. What do you think? You can use this CMA if you have Pro in order to get that done. And then you have the ability to turn on or off an automated marketing outreach. And this will let the system use some AI in order to start doing some communications on your behalf. All right, that was a lot. I know you all probably have some questions, so I'm going to go ahead and dive into our Q&A in order to make sure we get those answered before we close up shop for the day. If you have a question and you have not already typed it into the chat, please enter it now. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and see what I can do with what is already in there. All right, will I be able to get a copy of this webinar? That is actually a question we get a lot about the webinars that we do. Typically, we try and get these webinars kind of cleaned up because the files from the recordings are really big and they're hard to share, but we'll typically get them cleaned up and posted on Sales Pro, at least one version of them. We actually just started teaching this InTouch series in October, and we haven't had one posted yet, but I actually think the one that you guys are hearing right now is going to be the recording that I pull and I send in to have formatted. So if you all can just sit tight, give it a couple weeks to get it processed, I should hopefully have this posted on Sales Pro in the video library probably within 1 to 2 weeks, and it'll be available for everyone. I don't see a hot or a warm. If you are in a or next to a contact's name in the contact list, or if you're in the contact file, it's kind of up towards the top right, and that is in the status. Okay, so the status is a drop-down menu, and hot and warm lived in there. How do we know whether our contact information is in InTouch? Well, your information as an agent is automatically provisioned and set up for you when you affiliate with Coldwell Banker. As far as your contacts and your contact information themselves, it's up to you all as the agent to get them in there. There are a number of different ways to do that. We get into that much more in detail. We spend the whole class next week, next Tuesday, on that contact database that includes all of the ways to add contacts. But we're also starting to teach a class next week about building and managing your contact database. So I highly recommend looking at both of those classes. So you can add them individually. You also have the ability to do some types of contact syncing, which is what the contacts class teaches. But the InTouch CRM class will also go through adding individually, uploading, importing, and the integrations. Okay, so you all have a lot of different ways in order to build your database in here. Next question. When I receive a market leader alert that a person has updated their email setting that they don't want to receive emails, does InTouch automatically update that, or do I have to do something? Nope. Your customer updated, and if they've said that they don't want to receive emails, then you're totally okay. That's already taken care of. You won't have to do anything. Next question, how do you set up a drip campaign? That is in the Marketing Center, and you would go into the campaign templates. Step by step, you typically would follow the wizard is the best I can do for right now without going into our full marketing class, because that does take a little bit of time to show you. But how do you set up a drip campaign, again, is based on a wizard. So you just go to Marketing Center, go to campaign templates. You select the campaign that you would like to create and get sent out, and then it's wizard based. So complete step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4, and you are good to go. We do the Marketing Center class on week 3. Okay, so the week after next, we have a full hour in the Marketing Center where we'll be able to go through all of these things visually together, step by step. I need to know the name of my source, but it only shows as entered. The way the source field is in the InTouch CRM is it shows either entered by you, whether the person registered on your website, or whether it came from the company. If it was some customer or a contact that was referred to you by a person, then there is a separate field for that. So I would look in the referral section. I believe the field is labeled referral or some sort of similar word to that. And that is where you can put the name of your source in there. All right, I have run through all of the questions that we have in the Q&A as of right now. So this is the last call for questions for today's session. If there's any more, please do type them in. Otherwise, we'll wrap up for the day. And thank you guys for joining me. All right, no more have come in, so looks like that's a wrap. Again, thanks for joining. I hope you all learned a lot today. I know we covered a lot of material, but just remember that over the next 3 weeks, we're going to be diving into all 3 sections of InTouch much more in depth. So again, next week, we're going into the contact CRM for the entire session. The week after, the whole session is in a Marketing Center. And then the week after that, the whole session is the website. So hopefully by the end of the month, you guys will be not just walking, but hopefully running and sprinting and 100% comfortable with everything that this amazing system has to offer. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day.